Hey, Algebra kids, this is Dr. Callahan with week 9 Thursday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. This is your second and last day before Friday. So on Friday, week 9, your warm-up block is going to be due. It is going to be worth 300 points. So make sure you have all of the 3 boxes filled out since week 1 Monday. You can also use your YouTube channel as a reference to get any of the lessons that you have missed. Yesterday, we also talked about your grade update. So that is on Teams and also on Infinite Campus. You can see exactly where you guys are at. If you're like, I need to raise my grade, make sure you come see me after school. If you're not able to see me after school, you just need to go to the YouTube channel and just make up the assignments for that you're missing, especially the Math Excel and also the quizzes. You can redo any of them since week 1, but there is a 10 to 40% penalty, obviously, because it is late. But even with the 10 to 40% penalty, it's better than getting a 50%, which is an F. So if you attempt to do it, a 10 to 40% penalty, if you think about it, 100 minus 40, you'll still get a 60%, which will be passing you guys. Okay, so those are the benefits of actually doing the work in class. All right, so looking at your YouTube channel for this class, everything that you guys have has been updated on there. I'm gonna give it a minute to transfer over there. There are 40 videos over there, and so everything from week 9 is updated. So if you need it, it is there. For those of you guys who are on your cell phone, please put your cell phone away and make sure you're paying attention to what we're doing in class. So your guided notes is brand new. These are the skills that is required for this unit. You have this here. Last time I saw you guys did do a pre-evaluation of yourself. We're still working on our skill 1, which is rewriting rational exponents and radicals to evaluate or to exponential form and back to radical form and vice versa. Then eventually we're going to move on to complex problem dealing with properties of exponents and radicals. Then skill 3 is graphing and determining special characteristics of radicals. Next, solving radicals, completing the function operation of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with radicals. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the difference between a relation or a function and how to solve and graph inverse relation functions. So today is Thursday. We're still on the first skill, and today I'm going to have you guys practice a little bit more with that. So I'm going to have you guys do a maze, and we're going to color with highlighters. So the things you need today is a highlighter. You do need to have a TI-84 calculator, and then also my handout. So you have your handout right here, calculator right below that, and then your highlighter. So come on up and grab those items. All right, you guys, so you should have this maze right here. We are going to get started on this maze. I'm going to rotate my paper over halfway so you can see a little bit better. But we're going to start off right over here. And your goal is to figure out, okay, from 9 to the negative 1/2 power, where do I go? Do I go to the right, down, or do I go diagonal over to the right? So think about that. And let's go ahead and see. So what is this going to give me? Is that going to give me a negative number, an imaginary number? What is it going to be? So with your calculators, you can go ahead and type that in. The way I see this is because there's like a negative right there, you can make that into a positive number by just moving the 9 down to the denominator. So if I do that, remember there's going to be a 1 on top, 9 to the positive 1/2. Okay, that's what you should have. You can also insert this just on your calculator. So then remember 1/2 is saying that it is going to be a 1/√9. And what is a square root of 9? It's 1/3. So 1/3, is that going to be an imaginary number, a negative number, or is it a positive number? What do you guys think? I don't know about you, but I think it's a positive number. Now, you can also do this with your calculator to check, but make sure you know how I got to the positive number because you don't always have your calculator to be used. So let me show you. So with your calculator, because it's important that you guys know where the buttons are, okay? You're going to push the button 9 like that. And then that little caret, it kind of looks like a little triangle without a base. So that little caret is right there. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put a negatives on the bottom. Okay, so make sure you have the negative. -1 divided by 2, and then hit enter. And do you see how you get 0.33 on your calculator? So that's a positive 1/3. So then your next question is you're gonna start with this one right here. Okay, so with your highlighters, that's the path that we're going to. All right, so if I go ahead and figure out what this is gonna be, is this number gonna be 1/9, -9x squared, or 9x to the 12th power? Is it going to be -1/9? Or is it going to be a -5? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different options. Okay. So today it's just simply about you learning how to use your calculator. So with your calculator, let's do that. So I'm going to do cube root. Okay. So where is your cube root? You have a square root that is going to be right here. So for the cube root, you have to go to math. So hit the math button. And then go down to number 4. Do you guys see how number 4, there's a cube root button right there? Hit enter. And then you have the cube root. And all you have to do, rather than doing this by hand, you just do 1 divided by 729, hit enter. So you have 0.111. Well, which one does that match? I have a few fractions here. I have 1 divided by 9. And guess what? Does it match the 1 divided by 9? Yes, it does. So then from that, you're going to go to up. It's not -1/9. It's a positive. So I'm going to go up over here. And this is my next question. Okay, do you see how the maze goes? You're just gonna highlight the path as you go along with it. If you guys are not highlighting this, just keep in mind that you're gonna be turning this in before you guys leave. So make sure you guys are doing what you should be doing. All right, so looking at this, how do I go about simplifying that? What is the answer to this? Let's take a look. You have a negative, right? Does everybody see the negative square root? I don't want to have a negative or the -1/2. I want a positive. So what do? You move it down the fraction bar. If I move it down the fraction bar, I have x to the +1/2, and I have a 1 on top. And guess what? That one matches this one perfectly right there, because you only have one way of going. So then this is your third question right here in yellow, okay? So if I were to go ahead and simplify that, which route is it going to be? And you guys have several. You guys have the 10/9, 3x to the 5th, 1,000 over 729. So once again, you can use your calculator because I think it's pretty useful there. So with your calculator, and I have to switch it over here, I'm going to take my calculator and I'm just going to put parentheses. So make sure you have parentheses first. You put 100 divided by 81, close your parenthesis, and I'm showing you like the way of doing this so that way you know exactly how to do this specifically. With a little caret, and you see the caret on top, the exponent is a 3 divided by 2. And then you want to hit enter. So that puts it into a decimal. It's 1.371. Okay. So this is equal to 1.371. Now, which one of these give me that? And if you're not sure, take your calculator, divide them, put them into a decimal. So you want the one that gives you a 1.371. Well, automatically, I know it's not that one, so I'm just gonna cross it out. That's not even one of my answers. 10 divided by 9 is gonna give you something that's gonna be like close to it, but not quite. So let's just try it. 10 divided by 9. That's going to give you a 1.11. So it's not 10 over 9. Okay. What about 100 over 90? Let's try that one. So 100 divided by 90. Not it. It's still 1.11. How about 1,000? 1,000 divided by 729. Does that give me the correct decimal? Yes, it does. So I'm going to cross out this one here. And then with my highlighter, I'm going to move on to this one here. So here is my fourth question. So my highlighter is kind of like your path, okay? I'm going to show you like the first half of this, and then I'm going to have you guys do the second half, okay? So then now you have 81, 5 to the 4th. So again, we're going to use our calculator because our calculators are our best friend. But if you don't know where the buttons are, you guys, that's going to be really tragic because it's great that you have a calculator. But if you don't know where the buttons are, then you can't really do anything with it. So you're going to type in 81. So make sure you're practicing with this as we're going along so you know where the buttons are. Push the little caret, 5 divided by 4. What does that give you? 243. So that means I'm going to go from here down. And this is my next question. With that question, you cannot use a calculator. So you will have to literally do that one on your own. So let me help you out here. Okay, so looking at this question right here, notice that the outside root is a 6. You have a 48 and a 6 right there. So what that means is because this is a 6, you need 6 of a kind to take something out, okay? So 6 of a kind. Well, you have 48 x's, right? How many 6x's can you fit into 48? So what you can do is just do 48 divided by 6. What is that going to give you? That's going to give you an 8, right? So you have 8 sets of 6x's in there. So if I take that x out, it'll be x to the 8th power. Okay, that's one way of thinking about it. Next, what you have is you have y to the 6. Again, I need 6 y's to take it out. So you just divide it by 6. What does that give you? 1. So you just have 1 y on the outside. So then which one doesn't match? This one, or this one? Well, hopefully you say it matches the one that I'm putting a little star on. So then what we're going to do is with your highlighter, you can use the same highlighter or a different highlighter. I personally don't care. We're going to go down this way right here. And then this is your 5th question. Okay, so with this one, you can't use a calculator either because you have letters. And so let's give it a try and see where that leads us. Oops. All right. So with this question, how many of a kind do you need? 3 of a kind. Okay. So what's another way of writing a negative 27? Isn't that the same thing as times -3 times -3 times -3? That gives me a negative 27, right? So you could put -3 to the 3rd power. So then when I take that 3 and I divide it by the 3, because that's the root, that gives me a 1, right? So what does that mean? That means I could take out a -3 just once. Also on the inside is you have x to the 15. And again, you need 3 x's to take 1 x out. So you divide it by the 3. 15 divided by 3 gives me a 5. So how many x's can I take out? X to the 5th power. So then which direction are you going to go with your highlighter? Yeah, yeah. Thank you for answering that question. I wasn't asking for a question, but yeah, I appreciate that. So you're gonna go down, and then this right here is your sixth question right here. So take a look at the possibilities of the answers that you guys can have. And you have like literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different possibility of answers, which is quite a bit. So 6 different routes that you can be going, okay? So let's figure out what that answer is gonna be. Here it's saying g of x is equal to this cube root. Find g of -8. Do you see how if I were to like match them, all you're doing is you're replacing a or x with a -8? So you're just gonna replace x with -8. So I'm gonna do g of -8 is equal to the cube root. So there's my cube. Do you see an x right there? I don't know about you, but I see one right there. So replace that x with a -8 minus 19. So what is the cube root of -27? Any ideas? Well, I can tell you right now, that's probably not going to be the x to the 8th power. It's probably not 243. That's way too big. So if you're not sure, well, it's probably not going to be that one either. It's not -11. I know that for a fact. If you're not sure, grab your calculator. And this is why I say calculator is your best friend, because you don't have to do the work. The calculator can do it for you. But you got to know where the buttons are. Cube root button, go to math. Go down to number 4. Type in -27. Don't push the minus button right here. If you push the minus button, it's going to give you error, and that's not good. So what is your answer? I got -3. Did you guys get -3? Yeah, -3 is where we are going. So from here, I'm going to go to -3. So my 7th question, I think the 7th one, I've lost count, is this one right here. And I have 3 different possible answers. What this is saying is multiply exponent or do you add exponent? I know it's not going to be this one here because there's no numbers besides just the exponent. So what do you do with the 1/3 and the 2/5? Do you add them or do you multiply them? Now, going back to algebra 1, remember if you have a to the x times b, or sorry, a to the y. If there's 2 bases, you would do ax plus y. Okay, you will add them if there's 2 bases. However, if it's a to the x with a y outside, there's only 1 base, 1a, you would do a to the x times y. Okay, so that was the rule back in algebra 1. Well, how many bases do you have? You just have 1 base. And if it's just 1 base, then you're going to go ahead, not add, because if it's 2 bases, you add. If it's 1 base, what do? You multiply. So I'm going to go this way. Okay, so find f of 0. Anytime you see an x in there, you're going to replace it with a 0. What is 11 times 0? It's going to be 0. And what's left? What's 0 plus 17? It's a 17. So it's in the square root. And so I think you guess you're going to go down here. Right? Does everybody see that? Which then takes you to this one right here, -64 to the 2/3. I had to like move it over a little bit. Okay, so at this point, what I want you guys to do is go ahead. I want you guys to go ahead and try this on your own. I finished the first half of this puzzle for you guys. I want you guys to use your calculator and then try your best to finish the rest of the problems here. Okay, so you were supposed to finish the second half of this. And so if you did that, you make sure you guys are practicing with it. So I'm just gonna show you the path. And then if you're like, crap, I got the wrong one, you could just use a different highlighter and retrace the path. And I can go over any questions that you guys might have. So from here, you're gonna go down to number 16. That is your next answer. And so this is your 8th problem. And then from there, you're gonna go down to up, actually, 10x squared. So this is your next problem. And then from there, that is going to give you this part right here. And then from that, your answer is going to be over here, the 16. From the 16, you're going to go down to this question here. And then from that question, you're going to go up to x to the 5th. And from x to the 5th, you're looking at this question here down. And then keep going down and down. And then down. And then from there, we're going to go over to the left. And then it gets a little bit crazy because you're going to go up. Or I'm sorry, no, you're not going to go up. Just kidding. Sorry. From right here. Actually, no, just kidding. From here, we're going to go over to the left. The left. And then from here, you're going to go down over to 5x. And then from 5x, we're going to make it to the end. There we go. There we go. That should be the path. Okay. So as you guys are navigating through this, was there any particular question there that you're like, oh, I didn't get that path. That is totally different from what I did. Is there one in here that you need some assistance with, or do you need me to go over with you guys? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at a few of this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and revert back over to the beginning over here. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this piece right here. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so looking at this question right over here, okay, you have 100x the 4th. If you rewrite this, it'll be a square root. Your power is going to be 1, so it doesn't change anything there. It's just 1. And their root is just going to be 2. Okay, so then what that means is that you need 2 of a kind to take a number out. You have 2 10s. So I can do that with a 10 times 10, which is 10 squared. And guess what? What is 2 divided by 2? It's a 1. I could take a 10 out. Then I'm left with an x to the 4th power. So what's 4 divided by 2? It's 2. So how many x's can I take? 2 of a kind x's. So then from there, it is 10x squared. Okay. So then we start off with a 4x plus 3. So first thing you would do with that is I would like to rewrite this. So it's 4x plus 3. My root is 4. My power is 3. Okay. And with this one, if you look at it, you guys, you need 4 of a kind to take that out. You don't have 4 of a kind. You only have 3. There's nothing else you can do about it. You know, so what do you do in this case? Your answer remains unchanged. So you just go in that direction, which takes you to this question right here. 16x to the 6th. Your root is a 2, so you need 2 of a kind. Well, with your 16, you have 4 squared gives you 16. X, well, you can have 3 of them, right? Because 6 divided by 2 is a 3. So when you take this out, you have a 4. X to the 3rd. So that's why you're going down. Okay, so then you're looking at this question right over here, x to the 15. Your root is 3. What's 15 divided by 3? It's 5. So then you go to x to the 5th. And then it takes you this crazy equation right over here, which I'm going to go over that with you guys because that one is a little bit nutty. All right, so looking at this question right here, we're focusing on this one right here in this box, okay? What you have is you 5x 1/3 plus 4, 5x 1/3 minus 4. Now, we actually did go over a question with a formula similar to that. Remember, it was a minus b times a plus b. Very similar to that, right? And the answer for that was a squared minus b squared. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to say, okay, if my a is equal to 5x to the 1/3, a equals 5x to the 1/3. What is a squared? Well, a squared is 5x to the 1/3 times 5x to the 1/3. 5 times 5 will give you a 25. Then 1/3 plus 1/3, you add them, will give you 2/3. So that's your first answer with a squared, okay? Then your second answer, and you want to pay attention and not look at your cell phone so that way you know what you're doing, is going to be b. Your b here is going to be 4, right? Because if you just match it, you guys, b is 4. So then what is going to be your b squared? Well, that's just 4 times 4, so it's 16. So then what you have here is just me 25 x to the 2/3 minus 16, which then directly takes you down there. Okay, then you're down to this part here. So we are now here. With this one, you have a root of 12. With a root of 12, if you look at your possible answer, you can't take anything out because it's 12 of a kind. You don't have enough. But can I rewrite this into like a radical form rather than or exponential form? Yeah, I could do x to the 9/12 times y to the 3/12. Put it into exponential form and then divide it or simplify it. 9/12, if you divide it by 3 top and bottom, you will get a 3/4. Y 3/12 divided by 3 top and bottom, you get a 1/4, which then takes you down here. Okay, so then here, this is your next question. From that question right there, you can take a look at this as x the 1/9. I have a x the 1/18 here, but I need to move that up. If I move it up, it's going to be a x the negative 1/18. You need to have common denominator. So if I make that 9 into an 18th, my top will become a 2. 2 minus 1 is 1/18th, which takes you down over here. And then once we get to this part right here, this is our next question. It actually doesn't give you any other route to go. You just go that way. And then when you come over to here, looking at this, you're just going to go ahead and distribute this. And this one here is important, so I'm going to show you guys how to do this one. So let me snap that. Okay, so looking at this question right over here, what you're going to do is you're going to take that, don't pack up yet, we're not done. We're going to go ahead and distribute it. So remember, you're going to be adding the exponent. So x to the 2/3 plus 1/3 minus 2x to the 2/3 plus 7/3. You're going to be adding them together. So then when you do that, when you add them together, you're going to have a 3/3, which is going to give you a 1. And then 2 plus 7 is a 9/3. So it's just x to the 1 power minus 2x to the 3rd, which then takes you up over here. Looking at this question right here, all you have to do is just rewrite it. Square root 25x squared What's the square root of 25? It's 5. What's 2 divided by 2? It's 1. So there you go. That's your next question. This one is kind of a difficult one, so I'm going to go over this one with you guys, but really you have like one answer to go or one direction to go. And if you're like, I just simply copy this down, that's fine, but you're not going to know how to do this. So make sure you do know, so that way you could be a smart kid and know how to do radicals. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. I need you guys to be quiet, please. Shh. Thank you. So I have x to the 1/6 times x to the 1/5 times x to the 3/10. You got to find a common denominator because you're going to be adding them. Okay, I know it's a pain in the butt. 1/6 plus 1/5 plus 3/10. What is your lowest common denominator? You think it's 30. Yeah. So then how do you get 6 to 30? Times it by 5, top and bottom. How do you get 5 to 30? Times it by 6, top and bottom. How do you get 10 to 30? Times it by 3, top and bottom. So then you get 5/30 plus 6/30 plus 9/30. Add the top. So that's going to give you 11 plus 9 is 20/30, which is 2/3. And guess what? This entire thing is equal to x to the 2/3. If you put it back into a radical form, your power is a 2, your root is a 3, and ta-da! Do you see how it matches that? So then that takes you to the end. These things are important to know, you guys. I know you're like, well, you just gave us a color, so I'm just going to highlight it. Okay, that's fine. If that's your ethic, that's fine. But I'm like, you need to know how to do this. So if your plan is to go to college, and if you take the SAT, ACT, or Accuplacer, you know how to do this, and you could do well on it, and you don't have to take this class over again. When you go to college, you don't just automatically go into college level math. You have to get placed into it. If you don't place high enough, you might have to take Algebra 2 again in college. Not only is it a waste of time, but you also have to pay for it. I hope you guys knew that. Yeah, get placed into math and English when you guys go into college. So yeah, that is your maze, and you are done with this. I'll give you guys the answer right here so you can take a look at it. Make sure your answer matches my answer as we're going in that route with the green.